We're back at it with another episode of the I'm Gonna Call You show. This is episode 3, so let's hop into the call. We good?
I think so.
Live. Doug, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Not too bad. How's everything, all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Cool. I'm good, man. I know you said you had a few questions lined up, so when you're ready, man, go ahead and fire away.
Absolutely. My first question is more of a general question, sort of along the lines of everyone in the gym, and mostly you could say just generally everyone's trying to reach the level above average, being great at what they do. So my question to you is what one quality or characteristic they look for in another person, whether it be a prospective friend, business partner, that makes you want to fight along the side?
Okay, and we're not talking about the gym, just overall as a person?
Overall, yeah. Just
all right. One major thing I look for is someone who's not afraid to take a risk. And there's a whole list of things that I look for in a person. I look for someone who's not just following the trend or following what everyone else is doing, like agreeing with the majority. Someone who has a vision, someone who spends their free time actually doing something productive, someone who's willing to get out of their comfort zone and do things that most people wouldn't do. Those are the things that I look for, because we all know mediocrity is bullshit and that gets thrown around a lot. But your average person is just going to do what they need to do to get by. They're going to go to school and just go to class. They probably won't do the extra credit if they need to. Maybe spend some time with a teacher or a tutor or something to go from that B to an A. If they're in work, they work a 9 to 5. At 5 o'clock, they run out the door. To me, that's all signs of someone who's just trying to skate by and not really willing to put in that extra work and that extra time and effort. So that's kind of what I look for. And that goes for everything, whether it's school, work, relationships, like really going that extra mile to prove yourself and differentiate yourself from the rest of the people.
Absolutely, because I know when you're young, you get involved in either the wrong crowd or you can find the wrong person. It can set you years behind, and it's really just something to look out for. And it's a great answer.
And how old are you, by the way?
19.
Oh, okay, so you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. So what else you got?
Yeah, so I'm in college, and obviously, like the commons, we call the commons are at the school cafeteria. We're kind of in a way at their mercy at what they serve for as far as nutrition goes. The only consistent foods that they have are the salad bar, and then they have like a pizza station, bakery, and then they'll have like burgers, chicken patties, stuff like that. So it's not, exactly the healthiest stuff. So I don't know if you have any tips for someone who's living in like a freshman dorm setup like this, where it's like I don't have access to any sort of, I have a mini fridge and a microwave, and that's what I got to work with.
Do they by any chance have, I know sometimes in dorm rooms in the hallway they have a little kitchenette where everyone can just kind of share it?
Not in these specific dorms.
Okay. All right, so for something like that, when I was away at school and I dormed, we did have a mini kitchen, but I pretty much dealt with having the microwave and the mini fridge. But when I would go to the dining halls, I wasn't afraid to ask the people there that were running the cafeteria if they had certain food items that might not have been on display. So for instance, there was a really big buffet that everyone went to, and most of the time it was fried chicken and french fries and all that kind of stuff, pizza. But all it took was me asking, do you guys by any chance have grilled chicken that you can make? And sure enough, it became a popular thing, and they started offering that as part of the buffet. So I tend to just ask. I mean, you're not always going to get the answer you want, but it doesn't hurt to ask anyway. Things like you said, salad bar. If you can get the burgers, maybe see if they have turkey burgers or go a little bit leaner. But for the most part, it's definitely going to be difficult as a college student. You're at the mercy of what they serve you. You can make smarter choices. I mean, there's always going to be a healthier alternative to what they have. So there might be something else that you can substitute. But other things, I mean, if you have a friend maybe that's living in an apartment and they have access to a kitchen, you can maybe cook in bulk with them and then bring that food back to your dorm room and store everything in your fridge and Tupperware and whatnot. I think that would be your best bet, like trying to buy maybe your protein sources, some carb sources like rice and whatnot. Cook it in bulk if you have a friend that has access to a kitchen, and then store it in your mini fridge. Again, not everyone has that. So I would suggest, simple pantry type things like, your oatmeals, protein powder if you can, and do your best with what you can in your dorm. And then don't be afraid to just, ask around either. That was one big thing that I did, is every dining hall I went to, I would just kind of ask, like, do you offer this? Can you substitute this? And most of the time, they were able to do it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so my next question is, like my body fat percentage right now is, I'd say, I haven't had it like tested or anything official, but I'd say it's like high teens, low 20s worst. So it's like it's the stage right before you start to see like the development of the abs and like just being in like the premier physical shape. So I just want to know like what kind of strategies or tools do you use to just smash through obstacles, especially kind of tough ones like those where it's just like the last portion of the journey.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Are you currently tracking macros or anything?
To the best like of my ability, like I definitely do keep into account the macronutrients, protein, carbs, fats. I definitely make sure I have my fair share of those in each meal, but collectively, I have to do it.
Okay, and again, another thing that's very difficult when you're a college student, you don't have access to every nutrition label of whatever you're eating. The two things you have to do are either increase your energy expenditure through, cardio, daily activity, all of that, or reduce your calorie intake. And if you don't really know what your calorie intake is yet, it might be difficult. But if you don't have access to a food scale or if tracking macros is just going to take up too much of your time or it's tedious right now, another thing you could do is try and eat consistently the same foods for a week or so. And if you're not losing weight on those foods, just cut back on the portion size a little bit. So it's a good way to kind of like visually see what you're eating and then just cut back that portion size, and that can kind of help you out. Or, implement a little bit more cardio and conditioning work, and that should help.
Okay,
because
absolutely.
obviously the best thing you could do is tracking macros because you have a number and a variable to adjust. But for everyone, that's not possible. And for you, you're going to have to estimate a lot of stuff in the dining hall. So maybe just even if you're eating a lot of processed stuff, or if there are those days where you're eating like the chicken fingers and fries, just try and cut back on that and focus on more micronutrient dense foods, and you should be good doing that.
All right, awesome. So you obviously have grown a very successful YouTube channel. Have been able to do your own thing, which I think is awesome. And hope one day I'll be able to do that myself. Maybe not specifically YouTube, but in other facets of different industries maybe. So my question is, maybe looking back, what advice could you give yourself starting off as maybe like an entrepreneur or, your YouTube thing? Just so maybe to help me like reduce the time that it would take or reduce the mistakes that I would make in order, because obviously mistakes, failures, it's going to happen. But for me, I'm just interested to see, what the biggest takeaway from your experience was.
Okay. Can I ask what you're going to school for?
Undecided right now, so actually, I'm just taking general courses right now. Actually, I'm leaving to go to the Air Force at the end of the semester.
Oh, okay.
Because I do want to give myself more time to decide, and also it's something I've wanted to do for a very long time to serve my country. So I will have that coming up, but right now I'm undecided.
All right. Well, first, thank you in advance for you willing to go into the service. My brother's actually been in the Air Force 15 years, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know what it's like. So if you have questions about that, we can always catch up at another time, and I'll try and help you out with that because he knows the ins and outs of all that.
Oh, absolutely. If I could take down his number or, catch up some other time, any networking is absolutely
Of course. I know it's intimidating too, so if you can answer any questions or if I can help answer questions, I'd be more than happy. But to answer your question about what I would do differently or how to kind of avoid, mistakes and failures, that's all part of the game, man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen often. And if you're not failing, you're probably not really pushing yourself hard enough or you're not taking enough risks. And I don't think you should take risks to the point where it's putting your finances in complete jeopardy, especially, you're young. What I would do is it's one of those things where you say, like, look yourself in the mirror, and if you're not doing what you love, then you got to be doing something different. So I think it's important to find out what it is that you really want to do. Like if you want to start up a business, if you want to start up a YouTube channel, whatever it is that you want to start up as like a side project, it has to be something that you're willing to do as like a side hustle or on your free time. So a lot of people won't use their free time. This goes back to what you asked before. How do you separate average from normal people? Is using free time on creating that side hustle, whether it's additional income, whether it's reaching out to people, impacting someone else's life, doing something that you love doing. I think it's just most important to do something that you love and just run with it. And if you make mistakes along the way, that's fine, man. You'll learn from it. Like for me, if I can go back in time, what I would do is spend more time trying to build my own business. And that's not necessarily just the fitness business, because if you go back 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't really care too much about training and nutrition. It wasn't a passion of mine. But I would have taken all of my free time, maybe the weekends out, partying with my friends and whatnot, and put in that time to better use. So that's the one, I wouldn't even call it a regret, man, because I lived my life and I learned from it, but I would go back and use my free time to something more beneficial in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that answered your question. I know it was kind of vague, but
no, definitely. One last quick one. Who are your big mentors coming up? Whether it be in bodybuilding or just life in general, because for someone like my age, it's kind of the time where like I'm aware that I need to start to find mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not as much as a necessity, but it would be extremely helpful for myself where I'm not exactly sure like my direction or purpose, like this far. So just anyone that really helped you out, maybe pointed you in the direction you're like, wow, this is really cool, or like I learned a lot from the person.
Okay. As far as like mentors who really get me to kind of check myself and realize like you could be working harder, right now I would say it's Gary Vaynerchuk, and that's one of the main reasons why I started this whole thing right here.
Yeah.
I love what he does with the Ask Gary V show, and I think it relates to every single person. It's not just for the people on YouTube. It's not for the people who want to grow a huge personal brand. He's just telling you that, I love his quote. He says that you won the lottery. Like, you're a human being on earth and you have the ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. And social media is just one of those ways where there's nothing you can't do. There's an opportunity at everyone's fingertips when they're typing on their computer or on their phone. You're a message and a DM away from connecting with someone who can, you can make a monster connection or network. But I think Gary Vee is someone who, just when he talks, I listen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I follow his social media stuff. Tony Robbins, I love that guy.
Of course.
Super empowering, as far as when you have one of those off days, have some of his audiobooks that I like to listen to. So
I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, there are going to be a lot of people that you kind of come across in your life, whether it be through podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube channels, Instagram pages, that inspire you in some way or motivate you to kind of work harder. And like you mentioned, Tony Robbins is someone, he's powerful. When he talks, you listen and you want to take his advice. But I always tell everyone, like, motivation is so intrinsic, man. Like, I could talk to Gary Vaynerchuk on the phone, and that phone call might be the most motivating call I've ever had in my life. But once I hang up the phone and he hangs up the phone, now it's up to me to take action. You know what I mean? So motivation is just a very temporary thing, and you have to turn that into discipline, being committed to something, staying dedicated to something. So I think it's important to have these mentors or audiobooks or things in your life that kind of inspire you and get you going, and then it's up to you to kind of stay committed to that and keep things going.
Absolutely. I'm reading a lot of books about SEALs, Mark Devine's book, The Way of the SEAL. They're huge on discipline. I think I can definitely see not only my training, but my eating habits as well, just completely, being in line with my goals through discipline. And, the way that those guys think is just, it's next level stuff. So anything I can learn from them, it's really helping me out. And especially now, transitioning my life towards the military, it also is proving to be, really great help looking at stuff like that, where like motivation can be gone in a second, but it really counts for discipline.
Yep, it's discipline. That's exactly what it is. And I'm sure, you'll learn that in the military as well. But if you can approach the military with that attitude, I think it will take you a lot further also.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. All right, that does it. About does it for my questions.
Okay.
It was awesome being able to talk with you.
No, it's my pleasure, man. This was great. Thank you for, I know you had mentioned that you were on the Instagram live events. I really appreciate that. That's really cool.
It's really, really humbling when someone reaches out with like such a following. I mean, people, especially kids my age, it's like a world now where it's like anyone can get a following now. It's just super humble though when someone who has like a big following like yourself reaches out, makes like a one-to-one interpersonal relationship with someone like that. That definitely changes lives, and that makes a big impact. I don't know, more than you can probably imagine. So
dude, that means the world to me. Seriously, thank you. And I wish I didn't have to do these call things and I could talk to everyone individually. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But that's why I do those Instagram lives as well, to try and connect with as many people as possible. But thank you, man. Let's if anything else comes up, feel free to reach out to me. I'll send you over my email address as well. I know you're going into the military, the Air Force. Like I said, if I can help out with something like that, or I can reach out to my brother and he can give you some advice or tips or whatever you need, just let me know.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Great talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Take care, buddy.
You too.
And that is the end of the show. Another call in the books, and like I just said, I wish I could talk to every single one of you guys one-on-one. That would be awesome. Unfortunately, my time doesn't allow for that, but what you can do is, if you're following me on Instagram, which you probably are if you're following the show that I'm doing, I go on Instagram Live a few times per week, and people ask questions nonstop. And I say I'm going to be on there for 20 minutes. Sometimes it turns into an hour because I just keep getting a flood of questions, and I absolutely love answering them. So this is obviously more personal, and he can ask me a bunch of questions, but on Instagram Live, I'm still giving the same answers and trying to help as many people as I can. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching episode 3 of the I'm Gonna Call You show. If you are enjoying this, please hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment down below, and share it with other people. I'm really enjoying doing this, and I want to keep it going. So thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to you all in the next video.